It is 7 o'clock. This is the Sherborn Zoning Board of Appeals. Members Rick Novak, Ron Stefik, in his final appearance, we hope. He hopes.
We don't hope.
And Jonathan Fitch. Well, I hope for his sake. For a continuation of the hearing for Sherborn Market, for the Dunkin' Donuts, the Dunkin's signage. And I think there are new plans that were proposed, and we'd be glad to hear from the applicant. That's you, Alex.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to talk. It's really
Oh, Zach, I'm sorry, I see you there. Sorry, Alex. Go ahead, Alex.
well, I don't, you know, I'm essentially chaperoning this sign contractor, Bill Gavigan, and God knows where he is.
And he has the link. I sent it to him today. So
Okay. So would you like us to wait a moment for him to appear on your behalf, Mr. Weatherall?
would you mind? I'm surprised because he's been back and forth with Jeannie confirming this a couple times. So I'm gonna text him right now.
Okay. Could be the first time in history that someone had trouble getting into one of our meetings.
Well, no, it's like it's like trying to get a ticket to Taylor Swift, I think.
Oh, I think she's more popular than we are.
I'm a little concerned. Where is it? There he
nope,
is.
he's here.
There he is.
Here's Mr. Clark. Happy birthday, Mr. Clark.
Hey, everyone. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone all involved just for the flexibility and moving this to this week. Really appreciate that. So we actually ended up going to the Red Sox game that night. So it worked out pretty great. So thank you all for that.
Okay, excellent. Bill, you're muted.
My question was whether or not we won.
We did not.
50-50.
Oh. The way it's going this year, I guess I could have figured that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you had a
Okay.
good birthday, Matt.
Bill, I was
Thank
trying
you.
to kill.
Okay, so Bill, we were just saying that this is a continuation of the prior hearing.
Yep.
We understand that maybe you submitted some new materials and maybe the monument's gone, but why don't you speak on behalf of the applicant and tell us what your proposal is now?
Yeah. Well, we kind of have a new package, but or revised anyway. But yeah, basically, I think we listened to the feedback at the last meeting and tried to make a more appropriate package that the town and its residents would be happy with. Really, I guess the only thing at this point that we're looking at, when we had left last meeting, we had the 2 building signs were approved, the canopy, the menu board. We were still considering the height detector, the 2 directional signs, and the monument sign. The monument being the ground sign out front. We have completely removed the monument sign. It's no longer part of the package. The drive-through sign coming out of the drive-through lane, or the directional sign coming out of the drive-through lane, has also been removed completely. The
Bill,
only
can
other
you,
2 items.
Bill, can you
Yes.
put this up on screen?
Sure.
So we can see it, please? Thank you.
This over. There it is.
Great, okay.
Yep.
That's
So,
awesome.
yep. So this is just our new site plan. We had the monument sign here before, and we had a directional sign here. Both of them have been taken out. As I mentioned, the wall signs have been up for a little while. Those were granted before we ever came. Those have been installed. The last meeting, we granted the canopy and the menu board here. So we were still discussing the height detector. And one directional sign over here, which is replacing what is existing. Like I said, we removed that monument and that other directional sign altogether. So again, the elevations we looked at last time, that has not changed. That's what's still there. Those two signs.
Can you show us the height detector,
Sure.
please?
So there's the canopy. Just to point that out as we go by, everything is now black, like requested. To match that, we also have the height detector. Now, to the point of previous conversations, there's already one there, and it actually is exactly the same frame style as the new one. So we are now proposing to thin that out, paint this structure the nebulous white, which is the same as the canopy is. So the vertical pole and the horizontal arm, and then we went black with the drive-through and black and white with the clearance bar to match the canopy and stick to the color palette that we are already using on the property with the Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay, so let me play that back. I think I hear you. So everything on the height detectors, black and white. It's not exactly this color scheme shown in your photo comp. It's a little bit of a photo reverse of that.
Right, yeah, it seemed as if
Yeah.
the board didn't want the magenta, so we removed all the magenta and replaced it with black.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay,
But in the photo, the drive-through is in white. And on the plan above it, it's black.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just the way the rendering works. If you zoom in, this is painted. This whole thing is painted black. Down here, just to create contrast, she gives it a white outline so you could see it, because she had to block out the white panel here in a photo comp. I actually noticed the old tube is still there. That would obviously not be there. She just didn't Photoshop that out. So we will set the cables to the height it needs to be. So they'll probably be longer. We'll determine that in the field based on the height of the drive-through canopy, the order point, because that'll be the first obstruction. So whatever's lower, that or the canopy over the drive-through window is what will determine what that tube is hung at.
got it. So the actual the drawing up at the top, not the photo comp,
Yep.
is what it's going to look like.
Exactly right. It does, it's black and white. It's dull because it's on white background, but yes, yep.
Got
Are
it.
you using the existing whole structure or replacing that?
Nope, that's going to stay the same. If you remember the old rendering, it's basically, actually, it really is the exact same frame. The arm is a little bit longer on the new one and it pivots, but again, it looks as if we don't need to go that route. So we're just going to work with what's already there. Just convert it over to the new image.
Good.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Very, very helpful.
Oh, you're welcome. And then to continue, guess I'll go back to that directional again. There's the canopy. We made everything black. We even changed the orange vinyl to black vinyl. So everything will match that way. And then the only other thing was that, going the wrong way, sorry guys, the directional sign. So I actually went back and looked at the existing. We not only have this here, I do understand that is on town property, as we discussed in the last meeting, and has been previously granted, but I know again, and it's another item that we're discussing. One of the things I did too was reduce it down to 3 foot in height from the 410 it was previously, to adhere to what's existing there as well.
So what's there now is 3 feet high?
Looking at the photo, I didn't go out and measure it, but you have an A-frame sign right next to it, looking at Google, and A-frame signs are 2x3, and it's at
Okay.
the same height as that 3 foot height.
Okay,
So that's where I got that assumption from. So I almost positive looking at that the sign is 3 foot in height.
and what about the width? How'd you scale that?
It would be well, it's an old style. Actually, what's there, I'll actually try to pull it up. What's there now,
Yeah, it's gonna be behind this truck.
is
There it
actually
is.
bigger. What's that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a little bit behind the truck, but you got it.
It is, yeah, and it's bigger. You know, the typical Dunkin' is essentially 13 by 31, 14 by 30, depending on the version. I would say that this is probably 18 by 24, something like that.
And what you're proposing is,
Let me get back to it. The cabinet itself is 13 by 31, essentially.
all right, so a little, little shorter, a little wider.
Yep. I mean, the other one might be 30 inches wide. Again, I haven't measured it. I'm just kind of guessing off looking at it, but I would
Okay.
actually, by looking at the photo, I would say ours is a little bit smaller, minus you have the frame on the new style. So you've got more frame, that the other one just has a pole with really a bent up aluminum panel attached to it.
Okay,
And that concludes my presentation. I think that's basically it.
all right,
Should just be that height detector and the directional sign at this point.
okay, thank you.
So
And
is it that little canopy that was over the order? This one here, that's black and it was orange last week?
It was.
Okay. There's a new orange element that just was installed on the building and I don't know where that came from. I think it was pretty clear that we wanted all the orange to be changed to black. Has everybody seen it?
I haven't noticed it, but I think our position has been pretty clear that we approved signs on the building a year ago and we're not changing that. And if somebody's changed
Well-
the looks on the building, that's not part of our permit. Alex or Bill, can you shed any guidance on this?
I have no idea, guys. I haven't hung anything other than what we're discussing here.
Well, quite a few weeks ago now, we put up some of the features on the side, same time we put the building signs on. The orange color, I think that probably Ron is referring to, is the canopy over the drive-through window.
And does it match what we approved?
I don't think so. I mean,
Well, it's not a zoning board of appeals matter, Ron.
Yes, it
I'm not
is,
wrong.
because that drive-up window was a specific permit from us,
Did you
so
see
I'm
this
sorry.
picture right here? Do you see the orange in the middle there?
Yeah,
that's it.
and was that there before?
No,
Oh, our last
Well-
meeting, that's been in my package from the beginning.
Well,
But again,
your
we
pic-
don't do that. That was just off my rendering.
This is why we were very clear last time. We're not approving any package that you sent to us. We gave an approval for a particular drive-up
Rick, I
window.
think what-
Let
I
me
think what-
finish, please. Let me finish. For a particular drive-up window a year ago, and if that's what you built, then fine. But if you built something else, that's not okay. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
What I'm just trying to say is, we haven't changed any of the renderings that you've seen. This orange has been on this drive-through window canopy the entire time.
Well, I think,
Okay, Jonathan, you sound like you see that differently.
we were very clear that we don't want any orange or
that's my position as well.
the pumpkin colors at all. And in that regard, I was pleased to see the existing large sign with your gas sign is coming off.
Okay, let me try to pull these threads together. As to the drive-up window, that has a very specific design, including color, that was approved before. And if you can show that that color was on the plans that we approved before, great. But if it doesn't comply with the plans we approved before, it's got to be changed back. Be a violation of your special permit.
Well, here's what I'd rather do, Rick. What I'm telling you is the truth. What I'm trying to do is be straightforward. I have not played bait and switch. You and every other board has seen this specific last rendering. It was number 11 in a series. So what I would rather you do is if you want me to repaint the orange black, I'll repaint it black. Just tell me to do that.
I'm telling you to do something much simpler, which is go back and look at the plan we approved and build or paint that.
Well, then what I would respectfully suggest is let Jeannie dig up the sequence of plans submitted and decide. I'm telling you the truth. This is what's been.
To the board from
Sorry?
2021.
Well, I would say this, that it's possible it was on the plans and we missed it. However, we had many discussions about changing orange elements to black elements. And if what you'd say you're willing to do, Alex, which is to just paint the orange black, that would resolve the issue.
Would that work for you, Alex?
Or unfortunate. I'm surprised actually to be in a meeting with a ZBA and anyone in your board can't speak from experience looking at the building. Not to be disrespectful, but that's sort of silly, Rick.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. The way I feel is that we approved a specific set of plans, and if your point is the orange was on those plans all along, then I think Jonathan and Ron and I have to talk about something, because you'd be within your right to say, wait a second, you approved this plan.
That's my point. That's the entirety of my point.
Okay,
Jeannie? And to hear that the three of you are somewhat unfamiliar with how the building looks in real life right now is it's frustrating, Rick. And you've got to put yourself in my shoes.
I'm sorry that the volunteer board is not spending all of the time that you wish inspecting every element of your building when it's convenient for you, Alex. But I think in terms of being of being disrespectful, I'm trying to work with you here. Jeannie, can you was this orange strip on the plans we approved in 2021?
I just sent you all the September 8th plans from 2021.
Okay,
And
but I don't have my email open. Are those the ones? Because if those are the ones, then Alex has a legitimate point.
All right, wait a minute, hold on.
Well, the ZBA review is really restricted to the signage.
No, when we gave him his original permit, this is my point to Alex. When we gave him his original permit, the permit was for a drive-up window. And if we approved a drive-up window with an orange stripe above it, then I think we did that. And therefore, I think Alex would have a legitimate beef that we can't double back at him now.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see your screen. These are the 2021 plans?
Yes. If you scroll down, you'll see that they're the 2021.
Okay.
Well, everything was orange on this plan, including the sign.
Yeah, all over it. And
So
we
was there
said no.
anything in our,
We made a change.
okay,
All right.
let me try this, folks. Whatever we decided, and we can look in our written decision and see if we said these plans are okay with the orange stripe, or if we said the orange stripe has to go. And whatever we said, Jonathan and Ron, I think we're stuck with what we said. We issued that decision.
I don't recall specifically discussing the canopy over the drive-up window.
Right. Well, the good news is these are all recorded. So if we did discuss it, it'll be in the record, and if we didn't, that'll be in the record too.
I don't think it's asking a lot, Rick, for the three of you to make a drive-by the next few days to have a look.
Alex, you're not understanding me.
No, I understand. I understand you completely. The ZBA has no authority, so to speak, on colors on buildings. It's all about signage. So this is a very peculiar conversation.
Excuse me, if you want to cut that drive-up window out, that's just fine. Is that what you want? Because that is a specially permitted item, Alex. So if we've got a question about the coloration of your drive-up window, let's have that out. I think you want a drive-up window. I want you to have a drive-up window. So let me suggest this. I don't think we should be taking any new action on colors over the drive-up window tonight. Because one way or another, we ruled on that before. And if we said the orange had to go above the drive-up window, then that'll show in the record. And if we didn't say that, then he gets to build in accordance with the plans we approved. Does that make some sense?
I don't remember discussing the piece over the drive-up window. I very clearly remember discussing that the orange and pumpkin was not acceptable to us.
Real quick, the ones I sent you were from July. I have to find the ones from September.
Okay, so my point that I'm trying to argue to everybody is whatever decision we made in 2021, it's documented, whether it's in the YouTube recording or in our signed decision or in the prior plans. And I do not think it's helpful for us to debate tonight what we approved in 2021, because we did that. And we can spend a lot of time arguing about it, but that decision is signed. It's in the records. The board does not have the right to take it back. And if Alex wanted to come to us and change the 2021 decision as to the color of the stripe over the drive-up window, he could, but he hasn't asked for that. So it's not in play. Am I missing something?
Well, in my view, Mr. Chairman, Alex has suggested an accommodation to this problem, which is acceptable. And I don't know why we wouldn't just
Okay.
say thank you.
All right. So maybe I'm not hearing that correctly. Alex, what is your suggestion?
Want to get all the approvals I need, put the signs up, open the damn store. I would prefer the orange, very small orange canopy over the pickup window. I'd rather have it orange. If all of you are going to insist that it be black, I'll paint it black. All I'm asking, after 13 years in this town and a very honorable job representing myself honestly and upfront the entire time, that you all take a quick drive past in the next few days. And if you are truly revolted by that orange canopy, tell me, send me an email, have Jeannie call me. I'll paint it charcoal.
I see. Okay, so
Is that
the only one who's seen it, Alex.
Excuse me, is that asking too much? I mean, this is a town.
I don't think it is. Can I play back what I think I'm hearing from you, which is, listen, Alex, do not want to reopen that permit at all. But as a matter of accommodation and trying to be a decent business owner within town, if the three of you go by and say you're revolted, I'll paint it black. You won't have to have a new hearing. You won't have to do something else. This is just my undertaking as a business owner that I'll try to do that to get along. That's what you're saying. Yes?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If Whitney and Mark, if Whitney and Matt don't like it, they and their sons are by there all the time. They can speak up right now. My hunch is, you know what? They probably think it's okay.
Okay. Well,
I think my preference would be no orange. Like, I think it's, it's more in keeping with the historic nature of the town, not to have Dunkin' Orange. And, it's a rural town. There's a lot of things in the master plan, a lot of goals in the town, a lot of stated, preferences from residents, not just us, overall residents of Sherborn, to preserve the rural character. And the orange really is not in line with that.
and Ron, it sounds like you have strongly held views about the orange.
Were you talking to me?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was saying, Ron, I thought you had strongly held views about the orange.
I do, from
Okay.
several points of view. First of all, uh, again, it's maybe a matter of communication, but I thought our intent was that we wanted paint, change all of the orange items on the building to black. Now, that drawing we just looked at tonight did in fact show it as orange, but I don't recall specifically approving that particular drawing. Looking at the drawing, we were looking at it, I think, specifically from the perspective of the signage. The other point I would make is that as a design, it just doesn't really hang together. I mean, it's just previously, when there were other orange elements, it sort of made, you know, a kind of complete design out of the orange elements. Now you have these black elements and one orange one, and it just sort of sticks out as not relating to the rest of the building.
This is why I suggest just take it there, drive by and have a look.
I have the September 21, 2021 sign plan. And
Okay,
the
please.
Duncan sign, I can share it.
Please.
There it is. Can you see it?
Yeah. My color vision's terrible, but it looks like the orange is there.
Well, the Historic District Commission was the one that approved the colors on the building initially. And we had requested that the orange be changed to black. So the building colors were not originally reviewed by the ZBA.
Right, because Alex is right that in general, the building colors aren't up to us.
Right, but signages, right? And so a sign could be.
Signages and so is the drive-up window.
Right, and so I don't know if, I'm not, I guess, I don't know if we define a sign specifically, but I think there's room for, is there room for interpretation that a sign could be, you know, strips of color, right? Versus, you know.
Yeah, the line between a wall decoration and a sign is not completely obvious.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it, so is the only orange on the building at this point, Alex, the awning itself?
It looks pretty classy. All I'm suggesting, just throw me a bone, guys. The four of you drive by, and if you hate
No,
it,
I'm happy to take a look. I just want to know, like, is the only, just for the sake of the, is
Yeah.
the orange just that
Yeah.
awning?
and you know, again, why is it orange? I don't know. The canopy on my building right now is orange.
What's the material it's made out of, just out of curiosity? Is it canvas or is it plastic?
Steel? Steel. It's painted steel. It's pretty classy.
All right, leaving aside classy, which might be subjective.
Well, that's why I'm
The-
suggesting. That's why I'm suggesting look at it, Rick. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
just throw me a bone.
I'm Alex, I'm trying to work with you here, but I'm not sure you're hearing me. If the so the only orange that's on the building right now is the strip over the new drive-up window, right?
That's
It's
correct.
black. Okay. So Jonathan, Zach, what are your feelings on this? Your feelings are important to me.
My feelings are irrelevant. I think I think I would look at this from a perspective as whether that is, you know, whether your decision, the scope of your decision applies to that fixture on the building, and whether that could be classified as a sign under our regulations. I would want to take a fresh look at that at another point in time. But I think that's really where it comes down to.
Okay. And Jonathan?
Well, I was very clear when we went over this initially that the orange and the pumpkin and cranberry, whatever it is, coloration, I did not approve of.
Okay,
And so I am surprised that there is the pumpkin colored stripe at the drive-up window.
Again,
So,
again, I
Well,
know.
Alex, don't interrupt, okay? You've been doing that. When somebody's talking, let that person finish, and then it's your turn. Okay? You have, the applicant has offered to repaint that area to the charcoal. If we confirm in an email from Jeannie that we would like him to do that, he said that he will do it. So that should be sufficient. Fine. I go by there every day. I'm a pretty good customer of that place. Not the Dunkin' Donuts. That's poison, but
The reason I'm impatient, Jonathan, is, that orange canopy's been up since long before the first of these ZBA meetings. I just, again, maybe I take it too personally, but I am not playing bait and switch. That's been up there for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I don't think anybody except you has used the term bait and switch.
That's, my honor in this town is very important to me. I just
Good,
want that.
good. I get, and you have earned it, and I applaud that.
I don't think anyone thinks that. I think there's a question of jurisdictional, jurisdiction here, right? And so it may have been an oversight, and maybe no one in the process had an objection to it, and maybe someone approved something, and maybe it's just sort of evolved, right? I think we've all experienced what evolution can do in organizations, and especially over time. So I think it's just a matter of looking to see what was approved by historic, and then what was approved by ZBA, whether it's a sign or not. And Alex, if you want to just paint it charcoal, we can avoid that exercise. I think is basically where we're getting to.
No, I'm just suggesting.
I have no recollection of what was this. I have no recollection of, obviously.
Look, this is probably moot. All I'm suggesting is, wouldn't it be nice for me is if I knew the four of you would drive by and familiarize yourself with what this looks like in real life. Again, I deal with boards. I deal with the health department. The chairman of the health department's never set foot in my store. It's not easy. And I'm doing the very best I can.
I will happily bribe my children with Dunkin' Donuts tomorrow, Alex, and go over and take a look.
Yeah, I have no objection to that either. Let's, for right now,
I've already seen it.
okay. Let's, for right now, table this one. I want to come back to it, but I want to see if we can get to closure on the directional sign, the one that's in the island.
Yeah.
And where I was going before we started was, technically that's on town property. Technically it shouldn't be there. Technically we can't give a permit for that. And Alex, before you get all wound up, I'm going to get to some good parts of that, which is that sign has also been there more than 10 years. So Jonathan, I think that that sign is immune from zoning challenges now. It might be, the town could try to bring an eviction action if the town was feeling hostile, but I think that sign is impervious for zoning purposes, right? At this point, 10 years. So what I was going to suggest was that they just do a new insert for it. Keep the sign you've got. It's got zoning protection. Put in a new insert that matches the new colors and go on with life, as opposed to trying to get a new permit for us for a new sign.
Isn't this sign a replacement for the existing?
Yeah, it's a replacement for the
existing. Does that
existing.
matter at all?
I don't know. I don't think Alex has the sort of neighbors who are out there waiting to attack him on any possible zoning football. This is not Nantucket, where both Jonathan and I have the misfortune of working from time to time, and that's what your neighbors are like. So it's entirely possible that this one, as a replacement of the sign, if it were the same size and type, would go sailing right through, and that's another way to do it. It's materially similar.
The problem is the existing town, not 10 years or more old, to Jonathan's point, is cranberry and pumpkin. So if you want cranberry and pumpkin, we'll leave it, but I would suggest we make it consistent with the rest of the sign package. And I think it is a practical matter. Let us put the sign in that you've got technical specifications of.
Whitney, did you have something you wanted to say?
Sorry about that. I was just going to say, I think it's just that the size is the same, and if it has to be updated to be in keeping with the rest of the signing package, which is using wood and black and white primarily as your kind of lead materials and colors, I think that's fine. But I do think the sign size does matter. So if it's matching what's there, I think it's okay. That's just my opinion as a neighbor. We're the only neighbors. And the first time that we were looped into it was the day that those initial plans were reviewed. So that's just the comment there.
Okay, so what do any other members of the public and or board members feel about the new proposed sign? And Bill, can you put it up just so everyone can sort of see it? If I heard Bill correctly, it's maybe a little bit wider and a little bit shorter than the existing sign.
And if I could, I just want to point out here, this is what's existing. It's a pole with 2 flat aluminum panels bent. We're actually fabricating an actual sign, which is really not what that is.
Got it.
So for us, there's the side view, there's the other side view, here's the front of it. It's a 4-inch metal framed with an extruded cabinet. It's an extrusion 4-inch deep extruded cabinet with faces that slide in and out. If we were to replace a panel for the existing, it would just be a flat panel attached to whatever that pole is that's out there right now.
Okay, got it. And it's two-sided, just like your new sign would be two-sided, just like the old one.
Yes, sir. Yep. And again, it's the same metal materials as the wall signage. It really will be a much better match than throwing something else out there as just a swapped out panel,
Okay.
which I can do. I don't honestly care. I will do it that way, but I just think aesthetically this would look much better.
Okay, and Ron and Jonathan,
Well, my
Zach,
preference,
what are your feelings on this plan, on this sign? Sorry.
my preference would be to go with what is proposed with a new sign that it, is not significantly different in principle from the existing.
Okay. Jonathan.
Well, I agree with Ron.
Okay. New sign preferred to old sign. Okay, neighbors, sounds like, thought I heard that you prefer the new sign as opposed to just rebadging the old sign.
So that's pretty close to, I think, where we are. I think, we definitely have a thought, on that new sign. I also sort of have a question, which is, how come there's no wood, with these signs? I think Whitney just mentioned, we've been saying since we first were introduced to this plan at the planning board, it came up again at the historical commission, that the preference, from us as neighbors, the preference, based on everything, the stated goals of the town as far as preserving real character, was to have the signs made of wood, and seeing them come out with, extruded materials, vinyl, again, we love the colors, appreciate the colors, that's fantastic. Like, thank you for that. We appreciate that. But, just wondering, why is there no wood? You look at other, towns that are nearby, like including our close cousins over in Dover, it's a wood Duncan sign. So, this was discussed in the historic commission, and I guess, I just love to understand, why are we not talking about a wood sign, and why have we not been talking about wood signage like across the entire building at this point?
Okay, Mr. Gavigan,
Yes.
do you want to respond to that, sir?
I really don't have much of a response to it. I mean, we've proposed metal signs. The building signs that are there currently are metal. Again, I can make it wood if you want me to make it wood. It won't match the rest of it at this point, but That's what was always proposed. This was metal all along. I mean, this is what the package has always been. This is the first time I've heard anything about wood.
Well,
So-
this
Again,
is.
we can make
I'm sorry.
anything. It doesn't matter to me. We'll make whatever you
Right,
want.
so Matt, if it were black painted wood, would that improve the quality for you?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at, the businesses literally on the other side of the gas station, everything there is wood. It's exactly the same thing. And, I think with where this is, and I think it's a little bit different. Yeah, the existing sign, it's basically, I think this is it being a standalone building. I think it needs to be looked at differently, than the current situation where it's part of a gas station, which I think people are sort of used to seeing a little bit different type of signage. I think that, we would actually honestly, I think a wood sign for this, I have some other thoughts, but I'll just pause there because I think making this wood, it's consistent with literally every other sign in town. And I think what we wonder is if Dunkin' gets this type of sign, then why doesn't Arts get this type of sign? And why doesn't Rose's get this type of sign? And then all of a sudden you have all these other businesses who are saying, well, wait a second, they can do this. Why can't we do this? Why did you make us have a wood sign?
Good,
And then
good,
anybody else coming in is also going to want the same treatment. So it could very quickly spiral.
Good, fair question. The only reason I think Duncan gets to have any sign here is because they have a sign there now. There, an awful lot of the signage for Sherborn Market is, we don't use the word grandfathered anymore, Jonathan. What's the, it's age qualified. As in, for example, the ladder sign that Sherborn Market has could probably, or the pedestal sign could probably not be built now. Certainly not as of right. But it's there, and so he gets to keep it. And I think the same position, I'd take the same position on this directional sign, is that sign or a like kind is probably still has the right to be there. Jonathan, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any further commentary on the drive-up window, the height detector, or the new sign? Hearing none. Okay. Bill, could I ask you to stop sharing then, please?
Yes,
Just so I can see everybody a little bit
yeah,
better.
of course.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Weatherall, could you live with your new sign being on a wood post rather than an aluminum post?
Yeah, I just want to open the damn store.
Right, okay.
I think a wood post is silly. I think whatever the tech, I don't even know what Bill's proposal is. I think
Yeah, I mean,
a wooden plate hanging off a steel structure makes a lot more sense. But you tell me, Rick, you tell me what you want, and I'll put it up.
and realistically,
you.
we change it to wood, the whole thing changes.
Yeah.
Um,
The whole, it sets us back to step one in the process. I mean, you're talking about changing the entire concept of the signage. So we, without seeing a wood design, we can't approve it tonight.
I actually kind of agree with that.
Well, I think the
And
good news is that
also, if it's a matter of just changing the wood to the metal and painting it, what's the point of that? It'll look the same.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. So if you can get a 4x4 post and paint it black, it's gonna look pretty close to the 4x4 steel. So,
Right.
given the point that it's sort of grandfathered, aged in, as much, I tend to agree that probably should just let the new mount, as long as the sign itself is within, a certain percentage of the existing area.
Yeah, I really think we should have, this discussion of considering different materials for the signage should have been had way at the beginning of the review.
Yeah.
I think you're all letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Part of my frustration is this
Yeah.
property already looks infinitely more distinguished than it ever has in anyone's lifetime. And to be kicking this can down the road, it just drives me right over the edge.
Okay. Whitney, were you trying to say something? I'm not sure.
No, I mean, I think we've been saying the same point about like wooden signs and keeping with like the Dovers and all the rest of from the beginning, the first time that we've gotten involved in this. At this point, you know, we're not going to have Alex take down the signs on the front of the building and the side of the building. We just feel like, if I can be fair, I just think that this town, like the right hand doesn't always speak to the left hand, and all of a sudden decisions are made. And then it's 6 months later and the other board is finding out and it gets grandfathered in or whatever you wanted to call it. So I think this whole
Well,
process.
That
has
part
been
takes
like-
10 years, but
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah, but the whole process, I feel badly in some ways that Alex has gone through all this. As neighbors, when we finally were included, decisions had already been made and committed and we didn't have a voice anymore. So like, you know, there's nothing I can say except that I'm a little bit disgusted by the process, and this is not your fault, anyone's fault. It's the whole system. So the wood signs, in keeping with the historic nature of the town, have been discussed from the beginning since we've been involved. Recognize that ship has sailed. So I'm just disappointed. Not your fault, by the way, Rick. Not your fault, you know, anyone on this call. But so it's better than what exists. Thank you, Alex. I do think it's an upgrade, what you presented. I think the size matters. So thank you for keeping it as small as possible. And I do want Alex, you know, able to open this store sooner versus later.
Well, Alex, I can't imagine that the directional sign out in the island is between you and an opening. Probably the overhead height detector might be. But is there, what's actually between you and opening that's in front of this board? Anything?
No.
Okay, good. Because we wish you a smooth and happy opening and a successful operation, or at least I do. Okay.
No, we mentioned Dover. I mean, you all know now that Dover Market is closed. It's not easy running this kind of business, you know?
I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
Dover Duncan is a terrible location, and frankly, it doesn't look very good. I wish we could all live in the real world.
Well,
So I did actually.
let's put aside that last comment, because I think a lot of us spend a lot more time in a much more real world than you give us credit for. Yes, I'm sorry. Jonathan, were you speaking?
No, I wasn't.
I'm sorry, I missed somebody. Was it Matt?
No, sorry, that was me. I apologize. If I may, just one other sort of, this is actually, I think, a little bit relevant. So we actually were with some friends over the weekend, you know, who live in town, and we sort of were talking about, you know, they were asking where things were. And, you know, I think one of them had a great point. I think that, you know, Alex, and, you know, you've done such a great job with the shape of the building. You know, basically our friend pointed out that you could show anyone probably in New England just the silhouette of that building, and they would be like, oh, that's a Dunkin' Donuts. So really, like, the signs, you know, like, people are going to know it, they're going to recognize it, you know, like, and so obviously, like, these are important decisions, but like, just the structure on its own, like, screams Dunkin'. And I think that's a really good thing to keep in mind, you know, in this sort of bigger picture, you know, as far as like helping from a marketing standpoint. And as a big billboard, the architecture works really well as a billboard unto itself.
Okay. Board members, I've got a motion to propose to you. We'll let the world comment on it too, but let me suggest that we proceed as follows, and then you can all throw rocks at this. As to the height detector, that we approve the height detector as submitted to us tonight, with the with the black lettering on top, and the signage hanging below it, the actual detectors hanging below it, exactly as proposed and as explained by Bill Gavigan. As to the drive-up window accent strip, which is now orange, that we accept the applicant's proposal that if he gets an email from Jeannie Guthrie saying the board members have taken a look at it and on balance feel it's much better if it's charcoal, that he'll do that. And third, with respect to the new sign, that we approve the new sign, but that the post and crossbar be painted wood instead of extruded aluminum. That would be my proposal. So it'd still be a metal sign.
So I just wanna,
Yeah.
Rick, just the post would be wood, but the rest of it would be metal?
Well, that's what I'm throwing out there, but I think it sounds like we're gonna hear some thoughts on that. I think the problem with going back to the drawing board for a wood sign there is, as you pointed out, Bill, we have to go back to the drawing board. And maybe that's the right thing to do. But I'm trying to also get some closure for Alex, so. Board members, what do you think of that proposal? And you don't have to like it.
Essentially, we're replacing elements that are already in existence. And currently, they're all metal. And so I can't see, personally, I do not see a big advantage to changing it to wood.
Okay,
I agree.
okay. Mr. McBride. Oh, Zach, you're muted, sorry.
I would say I agree, and the important fact for me is the sort of the grandfathering, for lack of a better term. I think that makes a difference, significant difference.
Okay, so let me amend my motion to say that the new sign would be approved as submitted, including materials which are metal.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Jonathan?
I'm fine with that. I would second your motion.
Okay,
I would just add something around square area of the sign has to be within.
oh, the signs shown in detail on the plans, that'll be part of the.
Yeah.
They've got exact dimensions on it.
Yeah,
I'm
but I
sorry,
think we
Rick,
don't-
what was that?
I think we don't know. I don't know. I think the residents have spoken about the size of the sign, and they don't want it to deviate significantly from the existing size. So I would have the existing size measured and validated, and the new sign be within a certain percentage of the area square, the area of the existing that would be verified.
I have no problem with that. I think you're gonna find what's there is bigger than what we're proposing.
Yeah, so I would say, 10-15% of the square of the
Right.
area.
All right. I'll amend my motion for the sign to say, the sign be approved as proposed and shown in the plans, provided that in no event can it be more than 10% in excess of the surface area of the existing sign. Okay.
Okay,
Comments from the applicant's sign expert, members of the public. All right, so that's my motion. Height detector as proposed, drive up window, subject to maybe being repainted. And the new sign as proposed, provided it measures out as being not more than 10% bigger than the existing sign. Is there a second for that, Jonathan?
Yes, I second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. We have to do it by roll call. Novak votes aye.
Stefan, aye?
Pitch, aye.
Okay. All right. Mr. Weatherall, you have your permit.
Thank you very much.
Gavin, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Parks, thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
Board members, before we go, did you get my email about another matter wholly unrelated to this one and a need for a meeting in July?
Is this the Farm Road project?
Correct.
Yes.
I should be flying home earlier that day, so I should make the meeting, but you never know.
Which day are you supposed to be there? Which day are you supposed to come back?
The Thursday, the 27th.
Okay, because Ron won't be on the board anymore. It's not a you can miss it.
I have a 10 o'clock flight, but I will spare you the woes I experienced last week. So, so I give you, I'm supposed to fly in the morning from Chicago home, but you never know.
For 10 a.m. So in theory, you've got plenty of time. Nothing
Like
could
I
go
said,
wrong.
I will spare you the woes I experienced last week.
Um,
The
should we
following
kick it?
week?
Should we kick it to the next week to be safe? We could do that.
I
We
mean,
could kick it
that's
to
up to you. If you
first,
need,
second, or third of August. Those are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
If you can avoid the third.
Yeah,
only-
I'd like to avoid the third.
I'll be on.
Zach, what
an
about the first
island
or
in
second?
Maine, But
Fine.
it works.
Zach, first or second work for
it's
you?
fine. No issue. I'm around.
All right, let's go with Tuesday, the 1st. Jonathan, can you do that?
Well, I'm just looking on my calendar now.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right. So Jeannie, can you get that set up in the newspapers, please?
Yep.
All right. Tuesday, August the 1st.
this is Zach's initiation.
Yeah. So is there anything I should be looking into in particular?
Yeah, the new guy runs the next 40B.
Like, should I call Mark Bobrowski and get a drink and have him give me a tutorial?
There are, I think, can you get him the materials that Gino gave us on the sort of mass housing's view of how ZBAs should administer these things? You have to
I
take
think
that with
it's
a large
actually-
grain of salt, Zach.
It might
But
be
it's
on the
helpful.
website.
The author's writing it in an advantageous way for themselves. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly right. The regulations themselves are, of course, the key. In all seriousness, because Jonathan and I have been through this a couple of times, we're hoping there won't be too many curveballs that hit you for the first time.
Zach, if you go to the town's website, news and announcements, there's a link to the 40B process. So you can look at that. And everybody, the books, the hardcovers are on my desk. So if you want it, come get it.
Yeah, I'll take a hobble. I'll hobble over. I can walk this week, so
Oh, good.
I'll get across the street to town hall.
That's a big, that's a big plus. Jeannie, what on the Duncan sign, on the orange strip, whatever way Jonathan and Ron go, I will go with them. If they
Okay.
want it repainted, it can be repainted. If they can live with it, fine. As someone who was partly colorblind, I try not to be terribly opinionated on these things.
I mean, they
So-
did take a lot of the orange away.
They did. They did. Okay. Mr. Stefik, I think you are finally done.
Oh, my goodness.
And I want to thank you for your great camaraderie and help and attitude and great sense of design and everything you've done for a board for, it's got to be more 10
Ever.
years. You've been on for a long time by the time I came on. So
14 or 15, I don't know. I've
wow.
lost count.
I'd like to add to that. I'm really going to miss, Ron, your input on our decisions. Been so helpful to me. Thank you
Well,
very much.
I thought we did work well together, with my background in architecture was a compliment to you guys. You
Yeah.
guys really know the law. And I thought as a board, we did well together.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
I
for that.
enjoyed the 14 years, but I have to say,
It's time.
after 14 years, it's
Well,
really
Jeannie-
time. It's really time to leave.
Jeannie improves the experience dramatically for all of us.
I don't know. I'm starting to feel it's been too long too.
Hey, Ixnay on the walking day.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you all, I guess, August 1st is our next one, right?
August 1st is your next one. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, terrific.
I will
right,
let
thank you
Mr.
all.
Murchison know.
Okay.
Zach, please heal up. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining our merry band of clowns or whatever we are.
And if anybody has an associate member who wants to come.
Yeah,
hang out,
yeah. We want one of those.
I may try to convince my friend who is a burgeoning, single family home developer. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be great
He
perspective
lives
to
in
have.
town. He lives in town. He does all his work in Connecticut, where we grew up. So interesting perspective. Yeah.
Good.
We'll see.
That'd be
More the
good.
merrier. All
All
right.
right, everyone, have a great weekend. Talk
Have a
soon.
great weekend. Stay cool.
Thanks.
See you
Bye.
around
Yeah.
town.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again, Ron.
Bye.